What's up, guys? ActiveDaily. So it's the Wednesday after Super Bowl Sunday, and I gotta say, for one, I was super grateful that I got to go to Minnesota to get around the Super Bowl experience, go to the convention center in Minneapolis, and just kind of feel the energy, of this huge U.S. event. And as a football fan, I loved it. The convention was great. I got to stand in line, wait to see the Lombardi trophy up close, which, if you were a young boy or girl and played football when you were young, we all dream about getting next to that thing, holding it up in victory and all that. Now, although the trip was great, the only thing about it I didn't like was, unfortunately, the outcome of the game. So I'm a Tom Brady fan, hence New England Patriots fan, hence, it was a bummer of a loss. Great game, though, and congratulations to Philadelphia. So that team definitely deserved it. They played well all year long, even with the challenges that they had. So the reason for this video, though, the pain of being a sports fan, is it got me thinking about recovery, of course. And, the pain of being a sports fan is getting emotionally invested into something that we have no control over. It's almost like getting super upset when it's, sunny outside, or super upset when it's raining outside, And I tried to look for some other analogies other than the weather, like you can't control what, let's say your partner, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. You can't control what they do. You can't control what your boss does. You can't control your friends, other people, what they do, right? And that is still true, but I don't think the analogy is quite on point, because although we can't control the reactions or responses from other people, we can have some bearing of influence on that, right? So what I mean is, if you're very helpful at work, if you're very polite and authentically, genuinely interested in your coworkers, and you become friends, through small talk and expanding from there, you treat people well, they treat you well back, right? If you're mean and you're a jerk, then that's typically what comes back to you, right? If you're overly judgmental and harsh on other people, that's usually what comes back. So although we can't control what other people do, and especially if you're in the sales field like I was for a really long time, you can't control what customers are gonna say, do, or whether or not they're gonna buy. You can't create sales, but what you can do is create an environment that allows a sale to happen, by being of service, helpful, answering questions, really listening, the biggest thing. And that kind of applies to everywhere else in my experience, with friends, family, your significant other. So although we can't control their responses, we do have some bearing of influence, right? And ultimately, their response is going to be what it is. However, being a sports fan, there is, unless you work for the team, play on the team, or one of the coaches, there is literally nothing you can do to have any influence on the outcome of the game. So I'll be honest, I was really bummed about them losing. Nowhere near as bummed as I'm sure they are, Tom Brady, especially because of him being 40 and closer to the end of his career than the beginning. But it just got me to think about, practicing acceptance and just understanding, wow, why did I put so much into that, But at the same time, sports is something a lot of us grew up with, right? So it's just it's a big part of our culture here in America, football being number one. And I think it does offer a great lesson in accepting the things, just like the Serenity Prayer says, right? Accepting the things that we can't control. And what I did was, Sunday night, just, went home, ate dinner, or went back to the hotel, ate dinner. Monday, flew back to Hawaii. It was pretty much a day of travel. And although I was still pretty down and bummed and sad, Monday morning, I knew that I didn't have any impact on the game. So, there's nothing I could have done. And number two, if I'm in that type of mode, right, I did the best I could to practice some gratitude. For one, man, I got to go to Minneapolis and get near a Super Bowl. Those the first time I've ever been able to do that, and something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. Those of you that play football, you know what I'm talking about. And then on the plane itself, I just decided to, keep myself entertained. So I read a graphic novel, Injustice Year 4, Volume 1, DC Comics, and then I just spent a bunch of time watching stuff. By the end of the trip, although the outcome of the game was not what I had hoped for or what I wanted, I gotta say I would go do it again, because it was a great experience, man. And that's really what I've been aiming to put together. A lot of positive experiences, put together a lot of value that I can bring to other people, otherwise known as service, and just doing what I can to contribute over complain. I really like that term. It's not mine, contribution over complaining. If I remember correctly, I got that from Dr. Brene Brown. She's a researcher of shame and vulnerability. Love her stuff. Check her out. And the biggest thing I did is once Tuesday morning came around, I took my normal morning routine activities that I did while in Minneapolis, but I just ramped them up a bit. So when I was on my trip, I was only reading maybe like 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and then maybe watching a video or not. So what I did was I ended up doubling those efforts. So reading 10 or 20 minutes and then watching videos, positive, inspirational, motivational, educational, whatever you want to call them. Actually, recently I've been watching a lot of Brene Brown, which is why I just mentioned her. And the book I'm reading is The Mask of Masculinity by Lewis Howes. If you've ever seen the documentary The Mask We Wear, or Mask We Live In, I believe, on Netflix, if you're a guy, or even if you're a woman, it'll give you a lot of great insight into this be a man type thing. So Lewis Howes wrote a fantastic book that I'm just diving into. In either case, once I ramped up those activities, which are self-care for me, I was able to take care of my mental, spiritual, and emotional, get those things charged up so that way we're right back on track, be as productive as we can. So take care, my friends, be well, and of course, stay active.